Hello all, I'm Brian Steele, Skimmer math teacher.
I'm Larry Mosley, the Osprey math teacher. In our first unit, we've been excusing our dear Aunt Sally. We've also been working with powers of 10 and reviewing multiplying multi-digit numbers and dividing multi-digit numbers. In our second unit, we'll be moving into adding and subtracting decimals, pretty straightforward, and then multiplying and dividing decimals. We will finish out this semester doing half the unit for adding and subtracting fractions, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Steele to take the second semester of math.
So second semester, we're going to pick up with the second half of the fourth semester and continue our lessons on fractions, more specifically multiplying and dividing. After that, we'll get into two-dimensional figures, where we take these two-dimensional figures and do a lot of comparisons and grouping of them, as opposed to calculating missing angles and all that from the previous years. Next, we'll move on to volume and measurement, where we'll calculate volume in different ways. We'll also convert among the different measures, the customary units and the metric units. We'll wrap things up with the coordinate plane, where we'll take information, we'll plot the data, we'll interpret the data.
At the beginning of each unit, we will take a pre-assessment that will allow us to determine what students need to practice fifth grade skills and which students need enrichment and advanced problem solving skills. We will also incorporate what we've learned about each student from their MAP scores. One of the other things that we will do this year is the Continental Math League. We'll have 6 meets, and the scores from those 6 meets will be accumulated, and the top scores will be acknowledged at the final Honors Day program. One of the things that students have looked forward to in the past in 5th grade is Pumpkin Days. And Pumpkin Days happens around Halloween, and a number of students will bring in pumpkins of different sizes, and we will do an activity that involves measuring and data collection with various aspects of a pumpkin. And it finishes with removing all the seeds and getting ooey gooey, and it's a fun day. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, and there are also different strategies, different resources, different approaches to supporting instruction. One of which is creating flexible instructional groups, where we, based on the student's performance, group them where they are, and to provide scaffolding and other resources that we need to make sure students can be as successful as possible. One of the resources that we use is the interactive notebook, which is more or less a math journal, where students have the opportunity to record examples, models of instruction and concepts that they can use in class, at home, in the event that we're not available. And speaking of other resources to instruction, we have tutorials that will begin on Tuesdays from 2:40 to 3:10. Now, usually the tutorials are primarily by invitation only, and they should really be used for students that really need the help. Not for the student who recently took a quiz and made a 94. That doesn't really supersede a student who really scored way lower that actually may need the help. Speaking of help, we have a couple of online resources that are available that have been used in the past. BuzzMath. Kids love it. It's an interactive math website that allows individuals the opportunity to make corrections and without penalty, but it really forces students to stick with a given concept and make sure that they've mastered it before moving on. It's a great thing. And it's often used as an assessment for homework. MobyMax is another piece that we've used in the past, and it's an adaptive software that's based on students' performance from a placement test. So the longer a student is taking the placement test and the higher they perform, when the placement test is over, they'll be placed at that level. So they actually might be placed at a grade level that's beyond 5th grade. And it works with them on that, and it's self-adapting to the student's needs. So we have several resources available to help promote learning.
We look forward to having a good year with your children, and we'll see you guys around campus.